What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I want to go over what sets NIO apart and how they're actually a lot more similar to a company like Apple and not so similar to their competition like Tesla and other electric vehicle companies. I'm also going to touch on how NIO's market share could affect their valuation in the next 5 or 10 years, as well as their plans to expand to Europe by the end of this year and how soon they actually could be delivering vehicles in Europe. But before we actually get into the video, for those of you who are new here, my name is Evan and I make videos that show you guys different ways of making money. So if that interests you guys, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss when I upload. Also, if you guys wouldn't mind going down and hitting the like button, I would really appreciate it, and it lets me know that you guys enjoy these video updates. So again, if you guys wouldn't mind hitting the like button, I would really appreciate it. So before we actually get into all the details and everything I just discussed, I want to show you guys NIO's share price. And today they're actually trading pretty flat, but if you guys know that on the weekly chart, they've actually been seeing a pretty green week. And this is despite all the pullbacks that we've been seeing from NIO lately, because you guys probably know that NIO actually hit a high of about $66 in January. And since then, it's pretty much been a bloodbath and NIO's just been pulling back since then. And so on the 1-day chart, NIO's trading pretty flat, as you can see here. But then if we zoom out to the 1-week chart, you can see that NIO is actually up over 13%. At the beginning of the week, NIO was trading right around $34, and now we can see they're almost up to about $39 per share. And actually this morning, right around market open, about 30 minutes after the market opened, NIO got up to about $39.50, and they almost hit that $40 mark. Now, the last time we actually saw $40 from NIO was back on May 3rd, so almost 1 month ago. And if we do take a look at the monthly chart, you can see that they're still down about 4% on the chart, and they had hit a low of about $31. So you can see they are kind of recovering from that low that they hit. And this is also due to the help of Tesla, because Tesla's actually been seeing a lot of green recently. And Tesla does kind of pave the way for a lot of these smaller EV stocks, which I'm sure you guys are aware of. And so for them to start climbing up, despite the semiconductor shortage not really being fixed yet, it shows that the growth is still there and people are still interested in NIO, which is definitely a good thing to see. But like I mentioned in the intro, at least in my opinion, I think NIO is more similar to a company like Apple, even more so than a company like Tesla or other EV companies. And the reason this is such a big thing is because if you actually look at Apple and you compare that to like Android, for example, we know that Apple makes up about 60% of the market share in the US in terms of Apple versus Android. And in Japan, it's actually even higher than the US, and that's as of July 2020. And so that's why this is so significant for NIO, because if they're being compared to a company like Apple, who is selling more of a lifestyle than just their products, and then we see NIO swoop in and do the same thing, and they're really selling a lifestyle rather than just a car. Now, you could argue that Tesla is doing a similar thing, because a lot of the people who are buying Tesla vehicles, probably a big portion of them are going to continue buying Tesla vehicles for the rest of their life, as long as they have a good experience. But the difference is that NIO really is selling a whole lifestyle, where Tesla, at least as of right now, is only really selling vehicles, and they are starting to get into these other products, like the Tesla solar panels, for example. But NIO actually has a lot of other things, like their battery swap station and their NIO House, which we're going to go over soon. But the way this compares to Apple is because Apple actually has their Apple stores, where a lot of people go in just to find out about new products and possibly even just hang out with people who are in that kind of community who own Apple products. I think a lot of people go to the Apple store just to kind of window shop and see what's there. And I think the same thing is going to happen with NIO, because they actually do have the NIO House. So the NIO House is a great place for people to lounge or relax at, or even get a coffee or have a meeting. And it is an exclusive clubhouse that only NIO owners can make use of. And so if you look at NIO's pricing and the fact that they're in the luxury end of vehicles and they're only selling these luxury cars, if you knew that your neighbors or your friends were going to this NIO clubhouse all the time and hanging out with other NIO owners, it's definitely going to seem like an exclusive thing, and it's going to draw in a lot of attention, and a lot of people are going to want to buy a NIO vehicle for that specific reason, just to be part of this community. And that's the same thing Apple's been doing for the last 10 years or so. They've been making products that pair so well with each other that you almost feel obligated, or you feel like you need to buy these other products. Otherwise, you'll be missing out, or you won't have the complete package. And a great example is the AirPods. If you own an iPhone, a lot of iPhones don't have an audio jack, and so you almost feel obligated to buy the AirPods. And so this translates to NIO because NIO is selling the vehicle right now, but they're trying to get people into this community where once you buy the vehicle, you're going to feel like you need the battery swap ability, and you're probably going to pay the monthly fee for that. And then you're going to want to be part of the NIO House. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they just continue making these products to really expand their product line and get more customers in and really increase that community and widen the amount of products they have to bring in more revenue. So I mentioned NIO's battery swap stations, and this actually changes the way a lot of people think about electric vehicles, and it solves one of the biggest problems that people face, and that's charging times. I think a lot of people are hesitant to buy an electric vehicle because they don't want to have to wait 30 minutes to an hour for their vehicle to charge, especially people who are living at apartment buildings that don't have access to charge their vehicles through the night. And NIO also signed a deal recently with Cinepec that aims to build 5,000 new battery swap stations in the next 5 years. And these stations allow you to swap your battery in a matter of minutes, making electric vehicles almost nearly as practical as traditional cars. Now, of course, there's still the issue of long road trips, and if you were out of range or you weren't near a swap station, you'd still have to wait to have your vehicle charged. But as electric vehicles become more widespread, there's going to be more swap stations, and even the vehicles that are charging and the charge stations that are out there currently, they're going to be upgraded, and they're going to be able to charge vehicles even faster in the future. And that's figuring that all electric vehicle companies aren't going to transition to battery swapping at some point in the future. I think Tesla did look into this early on, but at the time it wasn't really worth the money. Now it looks like NIO is probably going to make this a success, and while it is costing them a lot of money up front right now, the amount of money generated from the monthly revenue when people sign up for the battery swapping, that should more than make up for the price of these swap stations, at least given some time. But I want to take a look at NIO's market valuation and where they could be by 2030. So according to a report on the recent past and long-term future of EVs and passenger cars overall, car sales are actually set to remain approximately steady in the number of vehicles until 2030. And this is with EVs making up an increasingly larger share from 4.7% in 2020 to about 48% in 2030. So this translates to a growth of just over 3 million electric vehicles in 2020 to approximately 33 by 2030. And this is with the overall passenger sales remaining stable at about 70 million. So now if we actually take a look at NIO's market share in the industry, there's actually 3 scenarios where their shares could give a yearly return of either 14, 22, or 30% from now until Q1 of 2030. Now, of course, 14% is still pretty high, and 30% is really stretching it. But like I've mentioned in the past, if you guys consider where electric vehicles are going to be and where the whole industry is going to be in 10 years, just for example, we know that China wants to get rid of gas-powered vehicles by 2035. Now, California is also wanting to do a similar thing, so I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 10 to 15 years, there was a big push to get rid of traditional gas vehicles and replace them with electric vehicles. And so I think a 14% gain over the next 10 years each year, I don't think that's too crazy to think that that could happen. And even if this is totally unrealistic, this still could give you an idea possibly of where NIO shares could be in the next 10 years or so. And this is also using the relation between market share and quarterly revenue that we've seen in the past. And this is assuming that the number of shares remains constant and that the price to sales ratio drops all the way down to 1.6. And 1.6 is the current industry ratio. So just keep that in mind when we look at these numbers. So currently we know the price is trading right around $38 to $39 and their price to sales ratio is right at about 10.3. Now, if we fast forward to March 2030, and if we figure that the market share is going to increase to about 2.6%, NIO's revenue per share would be about $77 and their share price would be at about $124. And again, that's figuring a 14% annual return. We've already seen NIO hit over $60. Now, of course, that was all on hype, and it was mostly due to the NIO Day event. that really shot the price up, and a lot of people were just finding out about NIO. But I think the same thing is going to happen in the future, but it's going to be more steady and more linear. People are going to find out about NIO, especially in the next 10 years as NIO starts expanding and once they expand to Europe. And so I think in the next 10 years, a $124 share price for NIO is pretty realistic to think. And that's on the lower end of these predictions. If we actually look at a 22% annual return, their share price would be at almost $230 per share. And then 30% would spit out a share price of over $400. So of course that could be stretching it, but you really never know with where the EV industry is headed. And when we look at how small EVs really are in comparison to traditional vehicles, in the future they really are going to make up a big portion of the vehicles out there. And speaking of NIO expanding to Europe, they actually announced their plans to begin deliveries in Norway in September. And this is going to be their first entry into a market outside of China ever. And the reason why Norway is so big is because half of their new vehicles sold last year were battery-powered electric vehicles. So Norway has quickly adopted electric vehicles, and a lot of people are buying those vehicles. And if you guys are aware of XPeng, they actually delivered 100 units of their G3 electric SUV in December, and they were kind of ahead of the curve because they expanded to Norway back in December. And so NIO's kind of following after suit behind XPeng, and I think it's definitely a good thing for NIO, considering half of the vehicles were battery-powered electric vehicles last year. Now, for those of you who made it this far into the video, I want to know if you guys would buy a NIO vehicle if they were available in the US or in your country, wherever you guys are watching from. So let me know down in the comments if you guys would actually purchase a NIO vehicle if you were able to right now. Also, if you guys haven't signed up for Webull, make sure you guys sign up using the link in the description. And when you sign up and deposit $100, you'll actually get 2 free stocks. So make sure you guys sign up while this offer is still available. And if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like because it really does help out the channel. And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you back here in the next one. Bye.